Yo, what's going on, deities? Happy Friday and happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there watching. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. Welcome to another edition of Titan Talk. I'm Isiah. Killgoon joining me as usual, and we're here to just chill with you all and talk about SMITE too, right?
Yeah, falling in love with SMITE on
I know,
Valentine's Day, and no, we don't really have too much to talk about this week, but next week is going to be a big week for the show.
Yeah.
We are kind of just right back into it because we have Achilles coming out on Monday, and we're going to be starting flash testing for OB4 on Tuesday or Wednesday. So we'll on Monday probably be going through the new gods, Artemis and Awelish, some of the other exciting changes. I might do a few more spoilers throughout the show here.
Yeah, I know. So
but
stay tuned.
Yeah, so definitely a lot of exciting stuff for next week. I think this week has just been kind of getting back on track for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just mostly here to take your questions today, answer anything that you want to talk about. And I do think you have a little bit that you want to run through.
I have
just the classic recap.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
the classic recaps. We've kind of shifted our cadence a little bit just because we patched so much. So what we started doing on Steam is what's everything that got fixed in the last 24 hours versus 3 or 4 different patch notes blogs on Steam. It's kind of hard to keep up with. So we started just doing one post a day, kind of congregating all the changes in a singular post to keep people updated. And I will bring up the handy dandy laptop. So this is the blog from yesterday with a round of bug fixes, and there was a balance change in this patch as well. So for yesterday's roundup, we introduced a fix that should address VGS and ability lag, feeling like you're soft locked momentarily while playing. There was another fix that went out today, further addressing that issue that we'll get into in a little bit. We fixed an issue where Rama's camera would get locked in a state after dying in his ultimate. That was that restricted camera pitch issue with Rama's ult. We fixed an issue where the minimap should no longer show on top of the store. I know we've still been getting some lingering reports of that issue happening.
Yeah, there's a couple maybe weird edge cases that still aren't addressed, but most of the times that it was happening should be fixed now.
Yeah. We fixed an issue with Fenrir Lord Slashington III not playing voiceovers.
And thanks to the community for letting us know that we had missed that. Basically, like that skin uses the default sound effects as Fenrir, except there are a couple of voice overrides for specific abilities. And we had missed those when we were initially porting it over. Because they just looked at the regular sound effects. They weren't looking at the voice overrides because they're hidden in a different place. So those should sound correct now.
Cool. For the item store, price will no longer reset in all items view if you toggle filters on or off while having components in your inventory. We also fixed an issue where filters sometimes got lost in the item store. Moving on to like the match lobby, we improved the turn to pick sound to be similar to the joining the match sound in ranked. And I know we've gotten some feedback that sound is a little bit loud. So we're taking a look at that to see if we can turn that down just a little bit. We've added additional localization. For Assault, we made a change to where the Runic Bomb, Crystalline Egg, and Obsidian Dagger no longer spawn before 10 minutes. Got some feedback that those items were particularly strong and impacted the early game a little bit too much, so those will no longer spawn until 10 minutes into your Assault matches.
Yeah, I see chat asking an Assault question. Is the mushroom gone from Assault? The Amanita charm is missing. That was an intentional change for this update.
Yes.
We felt like it was too good in Assault, so we disabled it for that mode. If we get a lot of feedback that people want it back, we can always re-examine. But it just seemed like, based on our data, the winning team was the team that built more Amanita charms, and that should never be the answer to beating a game mode. Is everybody builds the same item?
Cool. We fixed an issue where a tower would stop targeting minions. We fixed an issue where dual draft rules were not working as intended, and the mode is turned back on yesterday. We fixed an issue where God loadout equips would not cycle to other gods correctly. And then last but not least, there was a balance change in the patch yesterday. Soul Reaver got a nerf. The bonus damage int scaling was decreased from 0.5% to 0.25%. So Soul Reaver just a little bit less potent on those damage ticks whenever you hit those abilities.
Yeah, it was too good before. It might still be too good, but it's more in the realm of reason at this point, I would say.
All right, and then this just got posted not too long ago. just for today's roundup, further addressing that input lag issue specifically on normal cast for players using that option. We fixed an issue where Rama would die to a knockback in his ultimate if he died due to a knockback while in his ultimate, he would fall through the floor. Sorry, that is worded a little bit weird. I will fix that up as soon as we get off of the show. And then last but not least, we fixed an issue in role selection where it was showing none or all solo. So
yeah, and that was basically like when you were trying to set your role, and it was affecting, I believe, people trying to do it for the first time more so, but it should be better now.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is all that I've got to go over today. Killgoon, I know you mentioned you might have a little teaser.
Yeah,
do you want to tease something
before
we get into
a couple little teasers? Yeah. So everybody knows that we have the two new gods that are coming in the next update. We have Artemis and Awelish.
Yes.
And Awelish has a all new visual thing that we aren't going to show today. I didn't grab a picture of that. I probably should. That would have been a good teaser.
Oh yeah.
But we are also working on a couple aspects and some new items that hopefully will make it into the update next. Yeah, I do say Awelish the way that it's supposed to be said. I'm sorry. I think I'm going to say Habwa when we eventually get to Habwa. But we are working on some more aspects and some more items as well. So some things to look forward to. From what I heard this morning was that we might be getting Bancroft's Talon in the game.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. For those of you who don't know, Bancroft actually, I believe, was the bad guy from Global Agenda and has been, because if you ever have Googled, like, who is Bancroft in mythology? Yeah. Why is there an item called Bancroft's Talon? Bancroft's kind of just a Hi-Rez-ism that some of our early devs put in. So excited to bring that over. And then we, like I said, also some aspects. I think that Thor is going to be getting an aspect that's pretty cool. There's also one kind of in development right now for Baron. Those two may or may not make the update, but just kind of teasers that those are kind of some next aspects that you should be seeing.
Yeah. So yeah, lots to look forward to in OB4, and we're super excited. Like Killgoon said, the plan is to hopefully go over Artemis and Awelish on Monday's show before we kick off flash testing, hopefully as early as next Tuesday. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah. And with that, I guess we'll answer some questions.
Get right into questions for sure.
And I will answer this one right now. Are you aware that Xbox and possibly PlayStation has never played the Q-Pop sound? I was not, so I will look at that. I probably just didn't realize it wasn't playing. Cool.
Let's see here. I am pulling up YouTube chat on the laptop so I can get that up as well. If you just give me a second.
Oh, and I will also say, I followed up on two things from the last show as we're waiting for questions kind of filter in a little bit. The two things are that I followed up on specifically. I followed up on more things, but I want to talk about today are for some console players on Savage Plus from SMITE 1 are upset that you can't bind two inputs to the same command in SMITE 2. So basically, in SMITE 1, you could alt with either Y or LB and RB at the same time, and that's not supported in SMITE 2. That, it turns out, is a very difficult thing to hack in for console. I don't fully understand why, but that is something that is going to be a little bit more challenging for us to get in, and it's going to be still a ways out.
Yeah.
They were able to, I believe that you can do that right now on PC, that they were able to hack that in more easily, but the way that we handle console inputs is slightly different than the way, or the controller inputs is slightly different from the way we handle keyboard and mouse inputs. So I understand that not great, but we are aware that it's an issue. It's on our roadmap, or we have visibility of it, however you want to say it. But it's just going to take a little bit of time to get to that one. The other one was people wanting to split, jump, and interact.
Yeah.
It seems like we might have an easier path to get to that than I thought when I answered last time. So again, it definitely won't be in the next update, but it may be something that we can get to relatively soon, depending on how we prioritize it against the other works. It's not as big of an arc of work as I had thought it was going to be based on a previous conversation. So appreciate you guys asking about it, and we will get to it as soon as we can with everything else we're trying to do, but it is more feasible to get done sooner.
Cool. Let's see here. When when we bring back classic skins and change them, similar to Bunny Nuwa, I just want to ask why. Isn't the point of a classic skin to bring them back exactly as they were because people liked it?
Yeah, so Bunny Nuwa was actually it's kind of I guess it's a classic skin, but it was kind of not.
It was a Divine Legacy
Yeah, so
reward.
it was a Divine Legacy reward. And for all of the Divine Legacy rewards, we intentionally changed those in some way from the one that you had in Smite 1. Yeah. And so like the Emir ice cream skin is like mint chocolate chip instead of whatever flavor of ice cream it was.
Like vanilla.
Yeah. So we intentionally changed all of those Divine Legacy skins slightly, specifically because part of Divine Legacy was like we wanted you to unlock these things through playing, and we thought it was weird to unlock something that looked exactly the same as the thing that you already had in Smite 1.
Yeah.
So we specifically changed those for that reason. Future like true classic skins, I think that the intent is we wouldn't change them as much unless there's some obvious reason where we feel like we can make it look better, right? But not changing the theme as much as Bunny Nuwa changed, or like the flavor of ice cream and
right.
And
I think Hercules, he's got a different jersey on.
Yeah.
The
So
batter up skin.
all of those are just a little bit different. I was talking with Ben earlier this week though, and he was like, man, I think I might want to change. I don't know if he's going to, so I don't want to like
don't lock him into it.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna. But these are the kind of conversations that we have. So I'm just cluing you guys into this. But like, there's the cross-gen skin for Mercury that is he's like a demon. That's kind of, it's a cool skin, but it's kind of boring. There's not a lot of visual elements that are interesting to it. And he was like, yo, could I add like a little bit of armor to this as I bring it over into Smite 2? Like, I think it would make it look cooler. And I was like, I don't know. Like, anytime you change anything that people have bought as a cross-gen, I don't know if they would be happy with it. But if you think it's going to make it look cooler, then just go for it, basically. So I don't know if he will have the time to do that or if he actually ends up wanting to do that. But we do have those conversations about when we bring things over, can we make them look cooler? And can we stay true to what people are expecting to come over?
Let's see here. Any plans for full 5-party ranked queues coming back? Have several friends playing, and we highly prefer ranked, but we can never play together.
Yeah, I would say not immediately. It just leads to a lot of matchmaking issues where either you or the people you're against are going to be having a bad time, or else you're going to be sitting in queue for a long time.
Yeah, if you follow Innocent Rabbit on Twitter, I forget, it was a while ago whenever we made the change, but he went really in depth on some of the explanations on why we kind of went the direction that we did. It was a good experiment, but it really does hamper matchmaking in a lot of ways. So. Let's see. Would it be possible to add more clarity on Danzaburo's clones for teammates? It can be difficult to know which one to Geb 3 or Kepri ult with all the little Tanukis running around.
It is hard. I agree with you. We haven't talked too much about that, so no current plans to do it. But I agree with you that sometimes it can get overwhelming with the amount of Tanukis.
Yeah, especially late game. He's got all that int spawning all those clones.
Yep. The PS5 trading thing we're aware of. We are working on fixing that. I believe that hopefully will be fixed in the next update, but that is something that we're aware of.
Oh, this is a good one. I have a kind of unique question. Would you ever allow a lobby where you can jump into a game to replace a player that disconnected or rage quit?
Technically we could do that. Historically, what we found is that like people generally disconnect or rage quit when they think it's a losing game.
Yeah. And
people don't like being thrown into games that they feel like they're going to lose. And a lot of times people like disconnect very shortly before the game would have otherwise ended. Sometimes they just leave in the beginning because they're salty or whatever, right? Like that happens. But I think it would more often than not put people into a bad situation. The other thing that is hard is that like we're putting you into a situation with a god that you may or may not have chosen to play, right? Who's probably behind in terms of gold and maybe has an item build that's suboptimal.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, it's really hard to take over for somebody in a game that is as like deep as a MOBA.
Yeah, I know games like, Halo, a lot shooter games.
Those are fine.
They have human backfill.
We did it in Roku.
Yeah.
And it was okay in Roku, I would say. They called it the save the day feature or something. It's kind of funny. Like even then people didn't like it too much because again, usually people leave when a game is one-sided and it looks like they're going to lose. Mm-hmm. So it's like almost always you backfill into a losing situation game. Although I almost won a 4v5 yesterday, and if we had a backfill, I think we would have won.
Yeah.
So my Aphrodite support was on point.
Nice. Afro support is good.
I just I was in the spirit of Valentine's Day. I was like, gotta play some Afro.
Yeah.
People asking about like, are there Valentine's Day skins? No, we didn't really make too many skins for the game right now because we're working on everything else. But there is an event right now. So
yeah, I was gonna say,
if you play 5 games of SMITE 2, you get a jump stamp that looks like
it's the candy hearts. Every time you jump, it cycles through a different color heart with like a different message. It's cool.
Yeah, cool little free jump stamp thing just for playing 5 games. I did see the post about the Brazilian Pantheon on Reddit a while back, and I have added. We have like a big slideshow of like every god that we have ever thought of that we think would be cool to do in the game. Mm-hmm. And it's like 200 slides, right? Yeah. Like we have way more ideas than we can get through, right? Don't get me wrong. But I did add all of the kind of Brazilian gods and concepts to the deck. And we have discussed them internally. I can't confirm anything about our new gods past Bari, and that there's an H god after that, I guess we said.
Oh yeah, that's Travis.
Yeah, Travis with the spoilers. But yeah, we definitely are aware, and we saw the Brazilian community's interest in having truly Brazilian gods. I know that the Brazilian community was also very happy when we did Yamoja, because she is some Brazilian religions, follow her kind of thing. We answered this one before, but a general profile slot for jump stamps instead of 1 per god. At the time, we were like, it would be cool to be able to equip based on each god, and have. But we need to do something where it's either you can equip all or you can just have a system-wide one. I think that probably shouldn't have put that one under gods.
Let's see here. Are we getting a battle pass anytime soon? So. The Wandering Market is live now. That is kind of our new version of the Battle Pass system. Yep. It's built to reward you with cool cosmetics just for playing the game.
Yep, it's pretty easy. You play the game, you earn experience. The experience gives you coins. You spend the coins in the market to get the things that you want. The first page is free. If you want things off the next few pages, give us a few dollars, and you can get the things off the next few pages with your coins. That it never expires, so you can keep earning as much or as little as you play, and you can also earn coins and just keep them in your wallet until the next one comes out if you aren't interested in this one. I'm glad you like the Hot Stuff Poseidon skin. The food skins, I think, were the most successful recent line of SMITE skins.
I saw a Reddit thread about that. The enemy ultimate incoming VGS is particularly hilarious.
Is it?
On that skin.
What does it say?
He just screams like it's so good. It's great. So if you pick up Hot Stuff Poseidon, make sure you use that enemy ultimate incoming VGS, and you'll get a good laugh.
Yeah. I've seen a couple questions about console store still not feeling great. I would say yes, I am fully aware of this. I have myself created a document that's like 8 pages long of like, here are the things that we need to fix about the item shop.
Yeah.
Some of them are like, they will be better for everyone. So like if I click on a consumable slot, it needs to open just the consumables in the right side pane for me to buy, right? If I click on the relic slot, it needs to open the relics. I think maybe the relics one is the only one that does it. If I click on starter items, it needs to open all the tier 1 starter items for me to buy. If I click to buy a starter item on console, it needs to go to the tier 1 and not the tier 2, because it drives me crazy that I have to push down to buy it every time. If I've started building an item, I need to remember what item was being built so that when I click on it, it loads me back into that tier 3 grid and not the tier 2, and then I have to go up to builds into. There's a lot of stuff that we can do to make that store feel better, specifically for console, but some of it does affect everybody. we are aware it is on the list of things that we actually have a meeting later today to prioritize our UI features. So hopefully I will continue to push for getting as much of that done as quickly as I can.
Yeah. I saw this one time last week, and it's popping up again. Question: why do we still have the place award for teleport VGS line?
Probably because we recorded it for everybody, and we just didn't remove it. So I guess the solution is either cut the line or let people teleport towards again. I'll ask the designers.
Yeah.
If you get rid of it, I'll cry. Probably won't actually get rid of it, but yeah, I will. It is an interesting question. I hadn't thought of that.
Question about a potential looking for group feature in Smite 2.
Yes, we don't have any plans for that at this point in time, but it's something that could happen in the future. I think if you just look at the other things that are really important that we need to get done right now, that are UI features, those are a little bit more of a priority. I would say if you are looking for a group, the Smite Discord almost always has people that are looking for groups, and they're generally nice people. You can't guarantee everybody in there's nice, but they're people that care about the game and want to find people to play with. So I think that's a great place to look. Also, if you are an Xbox player, the Xbox clubs are a really great way to find. There's almost always people that are looking for groups in there. I believe Xbox Smiters is the one really big one. I want to say it's run by somebody called like Scylla Crush or something like that. And it's got like 50,000 members on Xbox. So if you're looking for a group on Xbox, I think that's really good.
Our Smite has a community Discord as well with looking for group channels. So lots of places to find homies to play with.
Definitely.
Let's see here.
I've seen a couple people saying that VGS still feels a little bit off on both Xbox and PlayStation. Are there any more details behind that? Because I will definitely bring that back, but anything beyond just feels off is always good.
Yeah. Are there plans for any new systems / personalization ways for us to spend money into apart from just skins?
Sorry, I was trying to read. Sorry. Sometimes it freezes all buttons sometimes. Okay. Thank you, Song of the Sign. And thank you as well for, I believe that you are the person who donated a ton of like gift subs in a previous thing. The way that our chat's set up, we can't see all those notifications. So I didn't realize that until I went back and I watched the VOD. So thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. And thank you for helping everybody else who's watching. So, okay, we'll look at that in a second. Cool. Sorry. What was the actual question?
Are there any more systems planned for being able to purchase cosmetics for more personalization outside of just skins?
Yeah, so I would say there are. I'm not sure if it's going to make it the next update or one after. Should I give another spoiler?
Hey, spoiler, you know?
So music packs are going to be coming back pretty soon here. So we're going to have the ability to buy music packs, and you can equip music packs. I believe we're just porting over the ones from Smite 1 to get started, that we have the rights to do so. There are some that we cannot bring over. I'm not sure how many we'll start with. It might just be one or two. It depends on how much they can get to. But yeah, we are going to bring music packs over pretty soon, and that'll be another fun thing to do.
More cool ways to just add flair to your gameplay.
Yeah, and we are also talking just about other ways that you can give us money. Not that we're trying to be greedy or anything, but like you guys keep being like, I'd love to just be able to be a supporter and show that in more ways. So we're having conversations internally about like optional things that maybe we could get into the game sooner, that aren't skins, that are just going to take longer to do.
Yeah.
For the person who's asking, please let Slipknot be one of them. That's one of the ones we almost certainly cannot do due to like rights, right? Yes. Like anything that was a known musician, probably we cannot bring over due to the licensing rights around it. So sorry for that, but there definitely are still a lot of fun music themes that are not the licensed ones. Yeah. And it also lets us do more in the future that potentially are licensed again, right? Yeah. I'm sorry that you're going to cry. I didn't mean to make you cry.
Would there be any chance for widening the lane in Assault? I've had so many issues of body blocking because of the lane width currently.
Yeah, I think we know that it's not great. We are having that conversation. I don't have an update for when that could happen, but this was always kind of intended as like the alpha version of Assault, and I think that it's better that it's there than it's not there, but the lane width is an issue. So I think either I think we're gonna need to address that at some point, but we just don't have a time.
Cool. I see people in YouTube chat asking, you mentioned music packs, they're asking for announcer packs as well.
Yes.
So maybe just add it to the list to talk to the
Yeah,
crew.
I can ask. Probably a little bit more work than music packs, but we can ask, you know.
Let's see here. See someone asking if there's an item or some way to get the old school blink where there's still a downside but a way lower cooldown. So not combat
blink, just regular blink. That's interesting as like an alternate relic choice. It's interesting. I would have to ask the designers about it, but I think that like theoretically, like we don't want to get to the point where we have like 20 relic choices. But I think that like it is good to be thinking about what are areas that we aren't addressing right now. I think combat blink has some definite pros in the way it's currently implemented. I think it also has some cons. So we originally put blink in this way because the community overwhelmingly wanted blink to be in the game this way. We initially did not, like as we were designing the game, we didn't want blink to be in the game, but everybody said no, it needs to be in the game, and we played with it, and we're like, well, it's pretty fun. I guess we'll leave it. So if it gets to the point where people think it's not fun or we need another alternative, we'll do that.
I see somebody in Twitch chat saying relic aspects. I feel like that's a whole lot. Relic aspects. So it's like you choose your relic. Do you want the aspect for it? I feel like that's a little bit too much when it comes to just barrier of entry into just getting into a match, right? We talk about that a lot, and there's just we don't want to inundate people with choices before they even get a chance to play.
Not too much. People asking about adventures. Adventures are still a ways out. We still have a lot of core work to do on the game. We're still in beta, you know, but it's something that we would love to do in the future.
Let's see here. Can we get the old Morrigan ult back where I can double tap on it? Where I can double tap it on the selected god that I pick.
There's a lot that's wrong with the Morrigan ult right now. I think that we have a doc of things that need to fix. So yeah, and I just saw another note on here that said, why make jump stamps show up in a fog of war? It makes it pay to lose. I didn't realize they were doing that. So I will take a note.
Yep. I would like an easier way to add friends after a match. Right now, you have to remember their name, and often enough, their username is not the same as their displayed name. So adding them fails.
So, and it isn't currently in the. If you click the three dots, there's a drop down like where you can report people. But there isn't like an add friend button.
There's an add friend.
It's probably pretty easy to put an add friend button there. I'll ask. That doesn't sound too hard if we could put it into that menu and you guys would be okay with it.
Because the menu already exists, right?
Yes,
you don't have to create something.
That's the thing. If we need to add like a new icon to the row, that's when it starts to get, you know, I just, my producer brain is like, how do you actually do the thing whenever anybody asks a question?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if it's like, is it something that we could theoretically get done relatively easily, or is it something that, you know, is going to be more of a longer arc of work? And I always like the things where I'm like, okay, maybe there's a way where we can get it in sooner.
Let's see here. Can I get a reminder in store when Vulcan mods are available for purchase?
Dude, I literally asked that in a playtest yesterday. Excuse me, maybe 2 days ago. I played Vulcan, and like literally every time I got back to lane before I realized that I
didn't get my mod. Yeah.
And it says on your like passive meter when there's a mod available, but I was like, it needs to blink, or we need to have the like you're leaving base without a mod, you know, like you're leaving base without a relic kind of text or something. Like, I don't know. We need to do something better. Yeah. It is not obvious enough, for sure.
Man, Twitch chat is moving today.
Yeah, glyphs and tiki buffs I will address quickly. I think that like we do want to take things that work really well from Smite 1 and bring them over to Smite 2. There's no reason not to, right? We don't want to just reinvent everything for the sake of reinventing it. We want to reinvent things because we think we can make it better. I think that the Tiki system is very fun for the most hardcore players, but was part of the Conquest map becoming like inscrutable for even like mid-core players as the game went on, right? There was just so much shit to do that it was overwhelming, right? Hardcore players loved it, but I think that we would more like to pursue new things that kind of have some flavor of that, but are less just like, I don't know what any of these colored tikis do, and I don't know what I should be mixing and matching, and I'm just gonna pick red because I think that's damage, or whatever. Right? Like people just don't. I don't even remember to hit a tiki. Like I think it just was. I think Infamy does some of that already. But not exactly. But I don't know. I think that like there are good things about the tiki system. I liked parts of it, but I don't think we're gonna bring it over exactly. The other one was glyphs. I think glyphs is basically the idea of like there's a tier 4 item, right? And I think that right now we just need to get like more tier 3s in the game before we start worrying about tier 4s. At some point in the future, we could have that conversation. But I think that like right now it's like there's just, like we don't have Bancrofts yet, right? Like there's a whole like lifesteal branch of building that isn't really explored yet. And I think there's a lot of interesting things we'd be doing with actives that we aren't doing yet. I think we should do that first before we go down the path of glyphs. I think the other thing that's interesting that we're doing in Smite 2 is these more like luxury, hyper expensive items. So
Hussar's wings.
Or I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's like a int and magic protection item.
Avatar's Parashu and Dreamer's Idol.
Okay. Yeah. Very, expensive items that kind of are those like glyph items, and that they're expensive luxury things, but it's just they don't have the tier 3 intermediate, so it's more like you have to invest more to get there, which I think is probably actually better for the flow of a game, where it's not like I get all the benefits of getting a tier 3 and then I'll get extra benefits a few minutes later. It's like, no, I have to do without the benefits of the tier 3 for a couple minutes in order to get the benefits of this better item. Updates on the tank situation. I don't have specific updates yet, but we are experimenting with things internally. I'm not sure if they're going to ship in the next update or not, but we are experimenting with things.
You were talking about missing items. Somebody in YouTube chats, the dagger tree items is something that they're missing. So maybe we just add that to the note for the design team to think about too.
Write it down.
Can we add a setting to auto buy wards when you go back to base? Always get those wards, Dude,
I pitched the other week that you just automatically get a ward every time you go back to base. But people didn't like that idea. So I think that there are lots of things that we could be doing to make buying wards more obvious and more something you should do. I did 2% use rate on that setting. Dude, I could be spending this gold on power. Right, why am I wasting my gold on wards when I could be buying swords? I think people are. It probably wouldn't be used too often, but it would be useful. And I think that there's more that we could be doing there. I think that if you haven't been playing Conquest in a while, we do have a lot more vision just on the map than we used to. So now there's the Cyclops ward that drops. There's the
Eye of the Jungle.
Eye of the Jungle. There's obviously they still got the oracles. There's a lot more vision play already. And I find that people are buying fewer wards, but I'm not missing it as much. I think that that's good for the game, where it's not like everybody has to be buying wards every back. But we do need to do a little bit more, I think, to tell people wards are good.
I've seen a couple of people asking, is there any sort of ETA or update on a tier 5 skin for Smite 2?
No update right now. I'm sorry. We are really just kind of focused on gods and figuring out kind of what's next right now. We are making skins, but we are not currently in development on a tier 5. We do have a couple of concepts for tier 5s, but not currently in the process of making them. So. There are some questions about Artemis. I think she mostly looks like she does in Smite 1. I don't think she got a major update. I'm sure Ben would be able to talk about some of the things that they did change, but she does look mostly like her more recent, remodel version in Smite 1, because it's pretty recent. I think people We're largely pretty happy with it. There are obviously going to be a few people in chat who don't like it because there's a few people in chat who don't like everything. And it's not against chat. That's just the world, right? Everything is polarizing. But no, I think pretty pleased with the way she looks.
Got a bug report from YouTube. Someone is not able to see what mastery they have on a god when going into game. It only shows for soul, but no other gods.
I have
take a look.
Absolutely no idea on that
it's
one.
I'm
sorry.
One.
Yes,
I've not heard that. First time I've heard something. Yes, like that.
Usually, when somebody mentions a bug on the show, I've heard of it and I can give some kind of an update. But that's that's a new one to me.
Let's see here. See a lot of people asking for skin spoilers. I wonder if I could pull up the doc and see.
I think there's quite a few skins in this next update.
Yeah,
I think there's quite a few of the classic skins and quite a few cross-gen skins.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get a list together and.
I think this next update might also have. I believe this next update has chests as well, so you'll be able to get your stuff cheaper from chests, same as it was before. They'll work the same as SMITE 1. You know, you don't roll duplicates. You know, same old.
Yeah. All right, I've got the list. I'm not gonna pull up the screen because it has a lot of other stuff, but looks like, now don't hold me to it. Of course, anything can change.
Yes.
But in terms of classic skins, we've got Foxy Amaterasu, Baron Frostchild Ymir. We're just getting all the gentlemen in early.
Dude, I love gentleman skins. That's like one of my favorite lines.
La Roca Hercules, another fan favorite. You get the chair back, all the Herc fans. And then in terms of cross-gen skins, we've got Summer Fun Medusa, Hellforged Thor, Lil Bite Sobek, Nanomancer Baron Samdi, and then somebody keeps on tagging me on Twitter about this, but Bossman Donzaburo is in this one as well, that Divine Legacy reward. So
yeah. That sounds great. So a lot of good stuff coming in the next update. And we'll show those off, I'm sure, when we go in game on Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mr. Killgoon, do you have a rough ETA spoiler for Win Sylvanas? No, I don't right now. We were talking about that again, because, this week has been a lot of meetings on our side trying to figure out, we have a rough idea of what we want to do and what we think we can accomplish with our current team size, right? Obviously, things have changed since we last talked about our roadmap at Vegas, and we're resorting things and seeing where it all makes sense and what it's going to end up looking like and feeling like right now. So I can't give you an update right now. I will say Sylvanas is still on the list for this year as of right now, but we're figuring out exactly when. Oh, this is a good question that I wish I had the answer to. Why does frame rate die on the Xbox when trying to choose a skin in the match lobby? This happens on Xbox and on PlayStation to some extent, where some gods and some skins just tank the frame rate, specifically in the match lobby. Kakademon Ymir is one of the worst offenders. Sobek is pretty bad. It's a known issue, and we've looked into it a little bit, but I think we just need to look into it some more and see why that's happening. It's something about that specific scene and the distance of like the character model and the camera, because if you look at the same skins in like the Gods viewer, like on the Gods tab, it looks fine. If you look at them in game, there's no slowdown associated with them. It's just something about the way that they're loading in that specific scene is not performant on console. And don't specifically know why, but that is something we're looking into.
Have you thought about exploring any potential crossovers for SMITE 2 yet?
We've definitely thought about it. I don't have any like real updates yet. We did already do one kind of mini crossover. We had the Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim stuff that was free in game for you all to get. But yeah, we have had conversations with people. We didn't want to commit to anything super early because we knew we were going to be focused more on just the core game. But it's definitely something that we continue to have conversations with people about, and we would be interested to do again in the future.
As part of the UI things plan, is the ranked god border thing also on the menu? I believe Max may correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that was something that he was looking into, specifically ranked God borders.
Somebody asked in chat if my son is talking yet. Kids don't talk when they're a month old. Takes a little bit of time, but no, he's not talking yet. I'm not trying to make fun of you. It is funny to actually watch kids develop. I don't even remember when they start talking, but I think it's like closer to like 6 months maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. I've been through it once before, but it's such a blur when you have little ones. Right. It's hard to remember. But yeah, no, he's not talking yet. He is like starting to look and reach for things a little bit more. Yeah. Which like for the first month, they're literally potatoes, guys. They like, if you never had a kid, like it's like a potato that poops and screams. And they're adorable and you love to have them, but they're really not super interactive at all for the first month. And then like they start being like, oh, I recognize you. I will reach for you. And but like bad at things. And, you know, so yeah, we're still a ways out from talking. So it's kind of a funny question that made me laugh. So that's why I felt like I had to acknowledge it because it made me laugh.
Please lower the overall lethality. 10-second team fights just aren't fun. Slower TTK would make things much more fun. Give time to strategize, reposition, etc. I called that one out just because I did see conversation around just lethality overall today. I believe AJ was talking with some of the ambassadors about it. And I think the biggest thing for you all is if we could just get more information on when exactly you're feeling like things are just too lethal. Is it early game? Is it mid game? Is it late? Any particular gods that are problem issues for us to take care of? I know they just did a pretty big pass on the feedback that we got that mid lane characters that were building high int weren't really feeling lethal in the early game. So that's stuff that we're definitely open to, you know, looking into and addressing, but just any sort of additional information outside of just time to kill is too short, you know?
Yeah, I think like one thing that we definitely agree with is that tanks are not tanky late game, right? I think beyond that, it's a more nuanced question that I see people being like, don't bring back 9.5.
Right.
Not what we're talking about here, guys. We're specifically saying like, are there instances, like what causes these instances where the game feels like it might be too lethal and you have no counterplay? Because I don't think anybody likes that, right? Versus the entire game needs to be tankier, right? Hoonbots is still one-shotting you with his aspect on. Didn't we nerf that like 5 times already?
Yeah, he got some pretty big nerfs. We'll have to get the data from Max and see how Hoonbots is performing. It's been a few days now since that last big nerf to the aspect, where he got like 4 seconds increased on the cooldown for overhand smash in aspect form. So we'll continue to look out, you know.
Okay, everybody says Hoonbots is fine now.
Okay.
We'll see. I have no idea where the title Vanguard is going, so I'm sorry. There's probably plans for it, but I just don't know what they are.
Can we please get an update on being unable to move with the T-screen up on console? I know that was something that we talked about. Gosh, it seems like forever ago.
Yeah, I'll look into that. I think if you have it enabled, there's a setting that says move while in menus or enable movement while in menus, and that should let you do that for sure. But I think that's one of those screens that we needed to override for the default as well, and we maybe have not yet done that. So I will look at that.
Thoughts on doing surveys for a small amount of diamonds?
Like early Smite 1 days?
Yeah, like early Smite 1 days.
I don't know. That was always kind of janky. It's not that we aren't trying to find ways for you guys to get diamonds and stuff, but I think that was just, I don't know, it always felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
Right? Not like, yeah. So sorry.
any chance of Smite 1 Battle Pass / Music Pack songs being on Spotify? I know we have the official. Maybe that's something I can talk to Kellen about. I'm not sure what the actual process is and when it comes to uploading stuff like that, but I know lots of people love the music in game. So
yep.
Can we get map pings to be visible in game, maybe with a HUD element to point to it if it is off screen? And Chang'e win. I'm not going to talk about Chang'e, but I know Killgoon's been working a lot on the ping system, so I'm not sure if
so yes, I believe that there are some visible pings in game now when you ping with the VGS menu. Mm-hmm. They aren't the final like art treatment yet, but that should be visible in game. I like in Smite 1, we never added like if you pinged the map, it didn't also show up in the world. Is that something that you want? Is that what you're asking for? Or are you just, I'm just trying to understand the question.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's time for the Alani check. I've got Pink Slush today.
I have Cherry Twist. I always have to go the opposite direction of where I think I have to go. VGS ping does show up on map and in world. Yes, it's the mini map ping does not show up in world, which is the current intent. If you all want us to change that, please let us know. Cool. We have had conversations about the God Select screen showing allies behind you again. Mm-hmm. I think it's just not an immediate priority, but it is something that we've discussed. I don't know if it's something we're going to do or not, but we have talked about it.
Are the teleporters in Conquest likely to stay, or is that more of a temporary experiment?
I think we like the idea of the teleporters. I think that the exact implementation has some pros and cons. They'll definitely stick around for at least a little bit in this current format. But I think, things that we can experiment with are adding a cooldown, adding some cost, adding, just a little bit more to it. Whereas, I think like some people really like the Smite 1 implementation of teleporters. Mm-hmm. I think that implementation also had its cons.
Right, yeah.
So I think that like it's something we're considering, but I think we're relatively happy with where they are right now. Why doesn't the tab screen show God damage types? It does. It's the color of the damage, right?
Yeah, I believe blue is int, red is strength, or physical.
Magical, physical. Yes, physical, yes. Yeah. Red is physical, blue is magical, white is true.
See someone asking about Pool Party Jingwei. I believe she is in the pipeline. Should be coming soon within the next couple of updates.
No ETA on God Builder, but it is still on our horizon. We just had another big conversation about it this morning. Me and AJ were trying to figure out. We've been having a lot of conversations recently about like, are there ways that we can get a smaller version of a feature to you guys sooner versus waiting for the full thing, right? So it's like one of the things we were talking about, HUD editor, right? Like if we could just get, I can move the mini map and I can only do it on keyboard and mouse. Yeah. Is that better than waiting to get full HUD editor in, right? So things like that are conversations we've been having a lot internally right now. Just being like, how can we get more quick things to you guys and then keep building stuff? Yeah. So, we're continuing to have those conversations. I don't have a firm update on God Builder, but we are having those talks.
It's been a while since we had a god that had protection scaling or CD scaling. Are any gods getting stuff like HP protection or CD scaling, or did we scrap that idea?
I don't think we'd scrap the idea. I think we just haven't seen the right opportunity to use it recently, but it'll almost certainly come back. Do we need to buy music packs again when they port over? I believe that, yes, you will need to buy them again, but you can buy them with legacy gems, is my understanding. So, yep.
Let's see here. will Titans get more love? A moveset like the Fire Giant, or at least replacing the default announcer pack with them, would be way more immersive.
Something we could consider. I think that like killing Titan is a little bit different than killing Fire Giant, I would say. And the focus usually when you're killing Titan is more, I'm fighting the team that is defending the Titan versus I'm fighting the Titan itself. Yeah. Whereas Fire Giant is usually more of a one-on-one fight, like for at least a little bit of time, or else you peel off and then you go. It's not like you're fighting them together, right? Yeah. You're very rare that you're having a team fight in Fire Giant pit. Yeah, usually it kind of like spills out, right? Whereas like having to do a team fight with crazy NPC abilities going on at the same time would be a little bit weird. Or else the other time when you're killing Titan is the enemy team's dead, the game is over, it just needs to end, right? And ending the game more complicated is usually not a good thing. We usually just want, like, once it has reached the point to be over, the game should be over.
All right, let's see here. Killgoon, do you mind if we pause questions for a little bit? I was able to find something special if we wanted to show it off.
Is Ben good with this, or should we just do it?
Yeah, so this was shared already. Okay. I got this from Jason. Okay. So I know we talked about it earlier, but since we're going to be talking about her next week, why not show off a little bit of a sneak peek?
We just keep spoiling stuff this
right?
show.
Yeah. So this is a Wheelish. She has gotten some visual love in Smite 2. We're going to be talking about her a little bit more in depth early next week. So
yeah,
I'm so excited. She looks great.
Yeah, Jason, he kind of went out by himself and was like, guys, I think that we can make a Wheelish way cooler when we bring her over. I want to do this. This is my pitch. And I think it turned out pretty darn well. So I think she looks more, like kind of culturally appropriate than before. I think it looks like she did, but just kind of modernized, right? I think that there's a lot of good stuff going on. So yeah, definitely working good.
And we couldn't have a Wheelish without a Suku as well. So Suku getting some love in Smite 2 as well.
Yep.
Lots of people saying they love the new color palette and stuff. Yeah, I love the purple accents. It looks great.
Yeah, I will say it took me a couple of games getting used to seeing her in the like the god portraits, because like we used to look for like the color scheme.
Yeah,
and it's different now. But other than that, yeah, I think it looks really good.
Cool. All right, I will bring us back to cams. Sorry for the interruption, but
it was a fun little fun little teaser.
Yeah, cool.
And she looks even better in motion, I will say.
Nice.
So. I think this it's an interesting point that Khepri's 2 only shreds physical protections, and maybe that's worth changing. So I'll add that as a note.
ETA on Merc, I believe he is still on track for later this year.
Yes.
Don't have a hard ETA, but we talked about him a little bit during the Vegas event.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? That reminds me, I have to look at something else.
Any chance that we get Jungle Camp dragging back? I know for the side harpies you can do it, but not regular camps.
So we think that Jungle Camp dragging, while fun, contributed to a lot of problems with pacing and role individuality in Smite 1, where junglers in particular kind of didn't have a jungle to jungle in and just kind of became laners or weird roamers with no farm to get for a lot of the game. I think that there are some pros to the system, but I think that there overall were more cons than pros. I think it's more likely that we create more like here in this specific area, you can pull some camps together versus we like the optimal thing is the other thing. Sorry, I'm gonna go on my little soapbox here for a second. The optimal thing in Smite 1 is to get like, okay, we're going to pull like 2 or 3 camps together and we're going to clear them at once. And if you don't do that, you're going to be behind, and you're going to get like you're just going to get run over in lane because you aren't going to have as much experience, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And the more ways that we let people lose the game in the first 30 seconds of the game that require like arcane knowledge that is not just like go to the lane and kill some things is not good for the health of the game. It's maybe fun for like the highest percentage of players, but I don't think it's good for like the long-term health. Yeah. We have talked about match of the day stuff. It's still, we've done a little bit of work on it in the background, but we don't have anything really to share yet. I think we were pretty close to having an omnipotence mode stood up, but then we had some other things pop up that we had to work on. So maybe we'll have that soon. I will say that even when we do match of the day, it might not be a always on cue the way it is right now, at least at first. It may be like, hey, for this weekend, we're running this event. Hey, for this weekend, we're running this event.
More like a limited time mode, at least for whenever we stand the feature up. Who are the next gods with aspects? You tuned in a little bit late. We talked about Killgoon spoiled Thor and Baron have aspects in the works that should probably be in the next Open Beta 4 update. So, can we have the option to preview voice packs in the God menu?
Probably eventually. I would say not immediately. That's just a little bit more work we need to do. No update on Turbo Conquest. That's kind of just like a theoretical what if thing that we've talked about a few times. It's not like we're definitely doing this, guys. It's just something I've been championing internally. I think it would be a fun thing to do.
Cool. I see an update about the T-screen movement on console thing. So the setting, tweaking the setting did allow them to move, but they said you can't rotate the camera like you can with the scoreboard up.
Okay, I will make sure that we get that addressed.
Do you think audio is a bit overpowered, i.e. hearing people back in Stealth Grass?
I think maybe. It's a fair question. I think that like SMITE has always been a game that you play from sound a lot because just because of the 3D positioning where like you can't see behind you. But that one might be too much. I don't know. I can ask the designers about it. There's a question about can I spoil a mage coming soon? We haven't had one since Vulcan, and we won't get one until after Bari. You're right, but I can say that as of right now, the god after Bari will be a mage. Yeah. So I'm not going to say who, but we are working on it.
A little bit closer to Bari's release, y'all. We'll go a little bit more in depth and talk about the next handful of gods coming. I know we've just gotten a lot of when's this god coming questions today.
Yes.
We know you're all excited. We are too. We're cooking, we promise, and we'll share some more info as soon as we can.
Sweet. Well, somehow it's already 2:00.
I know, right?
So it's time for
one more question. In the Valentine's Day off, right?
Yeah, and I'll say next. Obviously, next week we got a lot of fun stuff to look at. Please, tune in next week. Have a good weekend, and we'll answer a couple more questions here before we go. But I'm not going to answer any about gods. So ask some other questions, please. We already answered the Alani question today.
I know, you missed it.
Anything good on...
I'm letting it fill up.
Okay.
Let's see here. Trying to find a good one. We've talked about a lot of stuff.
We have talked about a lot of stuff today. Oh, I will answer this one. When are Cupid skins coming? So because Cupid is an all-new model, we can't just bring over the kind of classic skins as easily as we did as we're doing for some of the other gods, right? So it has to be like an all-new skin. He does have the one cross-gen skin, which I think
Court Archer, I'm not sure when that one is scheduled to come out.
I'm not sure when that's scheduled, but that is that one will be like the first one that he gets, and then we'll kind of go from there. So it's just kind of by the nature of who he is versus the other gods, and that he got the more significant rework visually.
Yep. Let's see here. The God tab in game where you can see everyone's items misses some functions from Smite 1. Most notably, you can't see anyone's damage type or the total stats of their build. Any plans to add this stuff? It's the tab screen.
But the tab, what is it that's missing? I'm not sure I followed that.
You can't see anyone's damage type or the total stats of their build.
The total stats of their build. You could see that in Smite 1?
Yeah, I think that was a later feature that we added back in the day, back in Smite 1.
I never knew that was a thing that you could do, but we can look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see when people damage you, what kind of damage they're doing, I think, much more easily in Smite 2 than you could in Smite 1, because we have the death recap and the damage recap screen color-coded to reflect that. And then, I have never looked at another person's combined stats in my life.
Where you actually see it, but it's like you hold tab and then you hover them, and I forget what you click, but there's an option that you can see.
I have never done that in my life. Well, that apparently
the more you know, right?
I feel like even watching streamers, I've never seen a streamer do that. So that's maybe I just am watching the wrong streamers, but that's interesting to know that is a thing that you could do, and some people chose to do it. But yeah, we can always consider it.
Cool. Sweet. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the show for today. Killgoon, thanks so much for joining me.
Yes, definitely.
Chat, thanks so much for hanging out. Again, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Monday should be a pretty big week for us here on Titan Talk. We've got Open Beta 4, which we'll be previewing, that features Artemis and Awelish. We've got some new items that Killgoon talked about, some new aspects, and the plan is to hopefully start flash testing Open Beta 4 as early as next Tuesday. So we will be back here on Monday, likely going over a lot of cool stuff in Open Beta 4. But until then, we hope you all have a very good weekend, and we will see you all on the battleground. Peace.